Lieutenant Jason Reese sat alone in the bridge of the exploration ship Horizon Reach. The stars outside the window were like tiny diamonds in the dark. The ship floated silently near the edge of the known galaxy, far from any busy space lanes or crowded planets. This was a place few dared to explore. Jason's eyes were tired. They'd been scanning empty space for days. Today something changed. A faint signal, soft and strange, reached the ship's sensors. It was weak, almost lost in the noise of the cosmos. But it was there. The ship's computer blinked, trying to decode the sound. It was a voice, a woman's voice, speaking in a language Jason did not understand. Then suddenly, a name echoed clearly through the speakers. Jason Reese. Jason froze. He looked around the bridge. His small crew stared at the screen, confused and curious. "Did you hear that?" Jason asked, his voice low. "The computer?" Repeated the phrase once more. The voice was soft but clear. Jason Reese. Jason swallowed hard. His name? How could it be in a signal so far from known space? He was a simple explorer, just a pilot who grew up in a small Earth colony. No one else had his name that he knew of. "Can you trace the source?" he asked the ship's science officer, Lieutenant Mira Sandoval. Mira nodded, working quickly. "It's coming from a small station orbiting that red star," she said, pointing at a flickering dot on the navigation screen. "But it's uncharted. No records of it anywhere." Jason stood up. "Prepare to approach. Let's see who or what is sending this message." The crew hurried to their stations. The Horizon Reach changed course and moved toward the signal. Jason's heart beat faster. Something about this felt important, more than just a random call for help. As they neared the station, it looked old. Very old. Metal plates were cracked and strange marks covered the surface. The station spun slowly, almost forgotten by time. Jason ordered the ship to dock carefully. The airlock hissed open, and Jason put on his suit. He took a small team with him to explore. Inside, the station was dark and cold. Dust floated in the light of their flashlights. Strange symbols covered the walls, symbols no one recognized. But then, deeper in the station, a soft humming sound started. Jason followed it to a large chamber. In the center was a pod, made of clear crystal and metal. Inside, a figure lay still. Jason felt his breath catch. The figure was a woman. Not like any human he had seen, her skin had a slight silver shimmer, and her hair flowed like liquid light. Her eyes were closed. Suddenly the pod's surface glowed faintly. The soft humming grew louder. "She's waking up," Mira whispered. Jason felt a strange feeling in his chest. Like he knew this woman, but he could not explain why. The pod opened. With a hiss, the woman's eyes opened, shining silver in the dim light. She looked at Jason directly. Her voice was soft, but it carried power. "You're the one I've been searching for," she said. Jason's mind raced.
How can she know him?
She slowly rose from the pod, weak but determined. "I am Lyra," she said. "I come from a lost civilization, destroyed by an enemy called the Silence. They will come for you soon." Jason took a step forward. "Why me?" "What do you mean?" Lyra looked at him with sadness. "Carry the key to stop them? You are part of the last hope?" Suddenly, alarms sounded through the station. The Horizon Reach crew rushed in. Mira looked at Jason. "Something's coming," she said. Jason nodded. "We need to get back to the ship now." They hurried out, but Jason's thoughts stayed with Lyra. Why was he so important? What was this enemy coming for? They left the station. Jason looked back at the woman who had just woken after thousands of years. She held me tight and said softly, "You're the one I've been searching for." The Horizon Reach floated silently in the shadow of the dying red star. Inside the ship, the crew was tense. The strange signals from the ancient station had unsettled them all, but none more than Lieutenant Jason Reese. His thoughts raced with questions about Lyra, the woman who had woken from stasis and claimed he was the one she had been searching for. Jason sat in the ship's small medical bay. Lyra lay on a padded table, her breathing steady but her body weak. Her silver eyes were closed as she rested, but her mind seemed awake and alert. Lieutenant Mira Sandoval stood nearby, reviewing the data they had collected from the station's systems. The station is old, beyond anything we've seen before, she said. But the technology in her pod, ... it's unlike anything human. Jason nodded slowly. She said her civilization was destroyed by something called the Silence. Is that? Mira frowned. I don't know. There's no record of anything like that in our history. Jason leaned forward. She said, I carry the key to stop them. What could that mean? Before Myra could answer, the medical bay's door slid open. Commander Hale stepped in, his face serious. We need to talk, Hale said. The ship's sensors have detected multiple unidentified vessels approaching. They are heading straight for us. Jason stood quickly. Could it be the Silence? Hale shook his head. We don't know. But we need to be ready. Jason looked at Lyra, still resting on the table. We have to protect her. Whatever she is, she's important. Hours passed. Lyra slowly opened her eyes. Her silver gaze met Jason's. You saved me, she said softly. Jason smiled. I'm glad you're awake. Can you tell us more about the Silence? Who are they? Lyra's face grew serious. The Silence are machines living machines. They consume all life. My people fought them for centuries. We created a defense network, hidden across the galaxy, to stop them. Jason listened carefully. But my people fell, Lyra continued. I was put into stasis, waiting for the one who could wake me and use the defense network. You. Jason felt a shiver. Why me? I'm just a pilot from a small colony. Lyra reached out a trembling hand and touched his arm. You are not just a pilot, she said. You were created for this purpose. It's genetically engineered with the key to unlock the network. Jason stared at her, disbelief and awe mixing in his mind. Created? Engineered? Lyra nodded. Long ago, my people sent DNA to Earth, hoping to build someone like you, someone strong, with the knowledge hidden in their genes. Jason's thoughts flashed back to his childhood, raised as an orphan with no memories of his parents. Could this be why? Suddenly, the ship's alarm blared loudly. Red lights flashed. Alert, Mira shouted. Multiple enemy vessels approaching. They're fast. Jason moved to the command chair. All hands prepare for battle. The Horizon Reach shook as energy blasts hit its shields. Outside the viewport, sleek black ships surrounded them, machines with cold, glowing eyes. They're attacking, Hale said grimly. Jason gripped the controls. Return fire. Protect the ship. The battle was fierce. The crew worked together, with precision, firing lasers and missiles. Jason piloted the ship with skill born of years of training. Still, the enemy pressed harder. In the chaos, Lyra rose from the medical table. Her silver eyes glowed faintly. Let me help, she said. Jason nodded. Do what you can. Lyra moved to the ship's control console. She placed her hands on the interface, and strange symbols lit up. The ship's systems hummed with new energy. Her technology is reacting with ours, Mira said in surprise. This could turn the tide. With Lyra's help, the Horizon Reach fired a powerful energy wave. The enemy ships staggered, then exploded one by one. When the battle ended, Jason exhaled deeply. Is everyone okay? The crew nodded, though exhaustion showed on their faces. Lyra turned to Jason. This was only a scout force. The Silence will send more. Jason looked determined. Then we have to stop them. The next days were filled with preparation. Jason, Lyra, and the crew worked to understand the ancient defense network Lyra spoke of. The station had more clues maps, data files, holograms showing star systems with hidden nodes. These nodes are like beacons, Lyra explained. When activated, they create a protective shield around the galaxy. Jason traced his finger over the star chart. We need to find these nodes before the Silence reaches them. Mira pointed to a distant system. The closest node is Huron, a ruined planet called Verex. Jason nodded. Set course. Can't wait. As the ship moved toward Verex, Jason spent time with Lyra. She told him stories of her people, their science, their art, and their hope. Slowly, Jason felt a connection growing between them. One night, Jason found himself alone with Lyra on the observation deck. The stars shimmered beyond the glass. "You said I was the one you've been searching for," Jason said softly. "What does that mean?" Lyra looked at him, her silver eyes shining. "I was placed in stasis to wait for you, to guide you, to help you fulfill your destiny. Without you, the defense network cannot be unlocked." Jason smiled sadly. "That's a heavy burden." She smiled back gently. "You're not alone. We will face this together." Jason reached out, taking her hand in his. She held him tight. "You're the one I've been searching for." As she whispered again, Jason felt a warmth in his chest, a new hope. When the Horizon Reach entered Varex's orbit, the planet was a shadow of its former self. Craters and ruins covered the surface. The last node waited below, hidden in the depths. Jason led a team to the surface. They moved carefully through the ruins, avoiding traps and debris. Finally, they reached a massive door carved with ancient symbols. Lyra placed her hand on it, and it glowed softly. "The node is inside," she said. Jason nodded. "Let's activate it." Together, they stepped inside the chamber. Lights blinked on along the walls. The air hummed with energy. Jason found a control panel and pressed a sequence Lyra showed him. Suddenly, the node came alive. A pulse of light shot into the sky, but the victory was short. The Silence fleet appeared again, larger and more menacing. Jason gripped his weapon. "They know we're here." Lyra stood beside him. "We must fight. For the galaxy's future." The battle on Virex was fierce. Silence drones poured from the ships, their mechanical bodies cold and relentless. Jason and the crew fought bravely. Lyra used her knowledge to disable many drones with precise energy blasts. In the heat of battle, Jason saw a drone about to strike Lyra. He threw himself in front of her, taking the blow. Pain exploded through his side, but he stayed standing. Lyra grabbed him, holding him close. "You're the one I've been searching for," she said softly, her voice filled with emotion. Jason smiled weakly. "And I won't let you down." As the battle ended, the crew gathered around the activated node. The pulse spread, shielding. Nearby systems, Jason looked at Lyra, feeling a bond deeper than words. "We have a long road ahead," she said. Jason nodded. "But together, we'll face it." She held him tight, and for a moment all the fear and doubt faded away. The battle on Varex had been won, but the war was far from over. Jason Reese sat in the small command room of the Horizon Reach, his side still aching from the drone's attack. Lyra was beside him, her silver eyes calm but filled with urgency. Outside, the viewport stars twinkled silently, but Jason knew something dark was coming. The Silence was hunting them, and its ships were growing closer. "Commander Hale says they'll be here within days," Mira Sandoval told Jason as she entered the room. Her voice was steady, but serious. "We have to prepare for a full invasion." Jason nodded. "We need to move fast. The next node is our only chance to stop them." Lyra stood and activated the ship's star map. Bright points of light blinked. "On the hologram? This is the defense network," Lyra said softly. "The nodes are connected. If we activate all of them, the shield will rise." Jason traced the path with his finger. "The next node is on the planet Carvas, in a dangerous system controlled by pirates and mercenaries." Mira frowned. "We'll have to be careful." Jason looked at Lyra. "Can you guide us safely there?" Lyra smiled faintly. "I know some of the routes, but the Silence will try to stop us." Jason stood. "Then we'll fight." The Horizon Reach jumped into faster-than-light travel. The stars stretched into lines, and the ship sailed through space toward Carvas. During the journey, Jason and Lyra spent hours in the ship's lab. Lyra studied the ship's technology, and Jason helped her understand human systems. They grew closer with every passing day. Jason learned about her people, their culture, their hopes, and their tragic end. Lyra learned about Earth and humanity's spirit. One evening, Jason found Lyra alone on the observation deck. The red star of Varex was far behind them, and the endless stars shone bright. "You carry the key to the defense network," Lyra said, looking at Jason. But you also carry something else, the strength of your people. Jason smiled. What strength is that? Hope, she said simply. Humans never give up, even when the odds are against them. Jason looked at her, feeling a warmth he had never known. I'm glad you woke up, he said quietly. Lyra reached for his hand, and I am glad you are here. Together, we can save the galaxy. As they neared Karvos, the ship's sensors picked up dozens of small ships surrounding the planet, pirates and mercenaries, just as Mira had warned. Jason gathered the crew. You must be careful. We don't want to fight before we reach the node. The Horizon Reach slipped through the dangerous system, avoiding patrols and mines. But it wasn't long before a group of pirate ships appeared, blocking their path. Hostiles ahead. The pilot shouted. Jason took the helm. Evasive maneuvers. Prepare to defend. The battle was fast and furious. The pirates attacked with lasers and missiles, but the Horizon Reach's shields held firm. Lyra worked with the ship's engineers. Using her ancient knowledge to strengthen the defenses, Jason fired back, disabling enemy ships one by one. The crew fought as one, determined and strong. Finally, the pirates retreated, their ships falling back into the darkness. Jason exhaled, relief washing over him. Good work, everyone. Lyra smiled. The next step is inside Karvos. The node is hidden beneath the planet's surface. The landing on Karvos was tense. The planet's surface was rocky and barren, with fierce winds blowing dust into the air. Jason led a small team, including Lyra, down from the ship. They moved through narrow canyons. Following an ancient map Lyra had found in the station's archives. Suddenly, the ground shook. From the cliffs above, a band of mercenaries appeared, armed and ready. Looks like we're not alone, Jason said, drawing his weapon. The mercenaries demanded they leave, but Jason stood firm. We're here to activate the node. We don't want trouble, the leader sneered. You'll get trouble if you don't leave. A fight broke out. Jason and his team fought bravely. Lyra used her agility and knowledge of the terrain to outsmart the attackers. After a fierce battle, the mercenaries fled. Breathing hard, Jason said, We can't stay long. The silence will be here soon. Lyra nodded. The node is close. They reached the entrance to a large cave. Inside, glowing symbols lit the walls, pulsing with ancient power. Lyra placed her hand on the door panel. The cave entrance opened. With a low rumble inside the chamber, the node stood tall, a crystal structure shining with light. Jason approached the control panel. Lyra guided him through the activation sequence. As the node powered up, the entire planet began to hum with energy. But just then, alarms sounded throughout the ship. The Silence Fleet had arrived. Jason looked out at space. Dark ships, larger and more threatening than before, appeared in orbit. They've come for us, he said. The Silence was not just a machine army. It was a force of destruction without mercy. Its ships moved with perfect coordination. Closing in on Karvos, Jason ordered the crew to prepare for battle. This is our moment, we said to Lyra. We have to protect the node. Lyra nodded. I will stand with you.
Battle was
brutal. Silence drones swarmed the planet's surface, attacking with relentless force. Jason and his team fought fiercely to defend the node chamber. Lyra used her power to disable many drones. Her silver eyes glowed as she unleashed energy waves. But the drones kept coming. Jason found himself surrounded. A massive drone aimed a weapon at him. He raised his shield just in time to block the blast. In the struggle, Jason was pushed to the ground. Lyra rushed to his side, holding him tightly. You're the one I've been searching for, she whispered. You must not give up. Jason looked into her eyes. I won't. With new strength, he rose and fought back. Together, they pushed the drones back. The node fully activated. Sending a protective shield around Karvos and the nearby systems, Jason watched the shield pulse, knowing it was the first step in a larger plan. Lyra smiled. We have slowed the Silence, but this war will continue. Jason nodded. We'll keep fighting. She took his hand again, holding it tightly. You are not just the key, she said softly. You are the hope of many. Jason squeezed her hand. Then I will fight with all I have. Outside the cave, the stars shone bright, and the fight for the galaxy had only just begun. The battle on Carvos was over, but the weight of what lay ahead pressed heavily on Jason Reese. He sat in the quiet of the horizon reach, staring at the blinking lights of the star map before him. The war with the silence was growing darker, more dangerous. But it was not just the fight that troubled him. It was the truth that Lyra had promised to reveal. Lyra stood nearby, her silver eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Jason, she said softly, there is much you do not know about your past. Jason looked up. I've never known who I really was, or why I feel this connection to you. She walked closer, her voice calm but serious. I will tell you everything. You must be ready. Jason nodded, steadying himself. Lyra began to speak, her words carrying the weight of centuries. Long ago, my people were a great civilization, she said. We lived in peace and knowledge. But the silence came, ruthless force of machines, that destroyed everything. Jason listened closely as Lyra continued. Our people created a plan to stop the silence. We built a network of defense nodes across the galaxy. But we knew that one day, when the time was right, someone would need to awaken the last hope. Jason's heart pounded. You said I was created for this. What do you mean? Lyra looked down, sadness in her eyes. When the silence grew strong, we sent our knowledge and DNA to Earth, hoping to create a Guardiana person who could unlock the network and fight. Jason's mind raced. So, I'm that Guardian? Yes, Lyra said. You were engineered with the knowledge of the defense network. Your memories were hidden until now. Jason felt a flood of emotions, confusion, fear, but also purpose. Lyra continued with a story told through visions, a powerful gift she shared with Jason. Images flashed before his eyes. He saw a planet, bright with life, full of tall cities and shining lights, people filled with hope and kindness. Then dark machines swept across the land, destroying everything. He saw a woman, strong and brave, placing a child in a small pod. This is you, Lyra said. You were placed in stasis as a baby and sent to Earth to grow and awaken when the time came. Jason's breath caught. So all my life, I was waiting for this moment. Lyra nodded. Carry the strength of your ancestors. Jason closed his eyes, trying to accept the truth. As the visions faded, Jason opened his eyes with new resolve. We have to finish activating the defense network, he said. Lyra smiled. There is one last node. It is hidden deep beneath Earth's surface, the most dangerous place of all. Jason's stomach tightened. My home, my birthplace. Yes, Lyra said softly. The silence will come for it. We must protect it. Jason stood, determination shining in his eyes. Then we have no choice. We go to Earth. The journey back was tense. The Horizon Reach raced through space. Knowing that the silence was gathering its forces, Jason and Lyra prepared the crew for what lay ahead. They shared what they had learned, rallying their small group with hope and courage. Earth is where it all began, Jason told them, and it will be where it ends. When the ship entered Earth's orbit, Jason felt a deep connection to the blue planet below. Cities sparkled in the night and oceans stretched wide, but the danger was real. Silenced drones appeared in orbit, dark and menacing. Jason took the helm, guiding the ship carefully through the field of enemy ships. Hold steady, he said. We're almost there. They landed near a hidden entrance to the ancient network, buried deep beneath the Earth's crust. The air was heavy with silence. Jason led the team through dark tunnels, lit only by their flashlights. Lyra moved with grace and confidence, guiding them past traps and ancient defenses. Finally, they reached a vast chamber where the last node waited. Jason approached the control panel. Symbols glowed faintly under his touch. Suddenly, alarms blared. The silence had found them. Dark ships surrounded the planet, their weapons aimed. Jason turned to Lyra. We have to activate the node. Now Lyra nodded. Together, they began the activation sequence. The chamber hummed with energy outside. The battle began. The Horizon Reach and the crew fought desperately against the invading Silence fleet. Jason and Lyra worked side by side, activating the node's full power. Energy pulses spread through the planet, creating a shield unlike any before. The silent ships screamed as they were pushed back. Jason looked at Lyra, hope shining in his eyes. "We did it," he said. She smiled. The defense network is complete. The war was not over, but the tide had turned. Jason and Lyra stood together, ready to face the future. She held him tight, whispering softly, "You were never just the one I was searching for. You are the one I will never let go." Jason smiled, feeling the strength of humanity and love in his heart. The stars outside shone brighter than ever. The shield around Earth pulsed with soft blue light, glowing like a heartbeat beneath the planet's crust. Inside the ancient chamber, Jason, Reese, and Lyra stood side by side. The weight of their mission pressed heavily on them both. Outside, the Silence fleet hovered in Earth's orbit, dark ships like shadows waiting to strike. The battle for the galaxy's future had reached its final stage. Jason looked at Lyra. Her silver eyes shone with quiet strength. "We've come so far," he said. "But this is the last step." Lyra nodded. "The final node holds the power to stop the Silence forever. We must unlock it together." Jason took a deep breath. "I'm ready." Gah! The chamber was filled with ancient symbols and glowing crystals. Jason placed his hands on the console, feeling a warmth spread through him. Lyra joined him, her fingers brushing his. "Your DNA and my knowledge are the key," she explained.
Together we can activate the final defense.
Jason closed his eyes and focused. Images flooded his mind, visions of his childhood, the secrets hidden in his genes, the hopes of a lost civilization. Lyra's voice was steady. "Feel the connection. We are one." Jason opened his eyes. They glowed faintly silver, matching hers. The control panel lit up, symbols shifting and spinning faster. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Outside, the Silence fleet fired its first wave. Jason gritted his teeth. "They're attacking." Lyra held his hand tightly. "Don't let go." Energy blasts hit the chamber's shields, sparks flying. The room darkened as the power faltered. Jason fought to keep the activation going. "Almost there," Lyra whispered. The silent ships broke through the outer defenses. Dark figures entered the chamber, drones moving silently. Jason and Lyra stood back to back, fighting side by side. Lyra's energy pulses disabled the drones while Jason used his strength and skill to protect her. A drone lunged at Jason, but Lyra caught it with a blast of light. Jason smiled despite the danger. "We make a good team." Lyra nodded, breathless. "We have to finish this." With the last drone defeated, Jason returned to the console. "Focus all your strength," Lyra said. "We are the final connection." Jason felt a rush of power as their minds linked. The control panel glowed brightly, chamber shaking with energy. Outside, a wave of light exploded from Earth's surface. The Silence fleet screamed in pain. As the ancient defense network activated fully, ships shattered. Weapons failed, and the enemy was pushed back into the darkness. When the light faded, silence filled the room. Jason looked at Lyra, exhausted but smiling. "We did it," he said. Lyra held him close. Together, days later, the galaxy was peaceful again. Humans and aliens celebrated their survival and new alliances. Jason and Lyra stood on Earth's surface beneath the open sky. Stars twinkled above as they looked at each other. "You held." Me Titan said softly, "You're the one I've been searching for." Jason smiled. "And I'll never let you go." Lyra smiled back, their hands entwined. The future was bright, full of hope and new beginnings.